Hi there, Dr. Vicki Lemper here with the Shift Happens channel. Today, we're going to talk about forgiveness and identity. What in the world do those two things have in common that will help you to manifest your specific person? Well, we're going to dive into that and more. But before we do, like, share, and comment. In fact, comment. People are reflecting what I think they are thinking. What? People are reflecting what you think they are thinking. Wow, that sounds odd. We're going to get into that. And if you'd like to learn how to manifest with fun, love, ease, you go ahead and contact me at shifthappenslifecoaching@gmail.com. All the information is below. Okay, so when you are manifesting your SP, let's say you have had a relationship with them and now you're in no contact, right? And you think you're doing all these processes, you're actually feeling pretty calm and neutral about things, but you're still not getting your specific person. Well, here's the thing. There is a hidden little gem in there that you need to kind of address. And what is that? Well, it's our mental diet, part of it. And that means when you are thinking about them throughout the day, I don't know if you realize this, and this has been coming up in my coaching conversations, but a lot of times people are holding on to a little bit of resentment, right? And you don't even know it. You're like, no, I'm fine with that. I'm like, are you? Because that storyline keeps on coming up. And so what do we need to do? We need to forgive it. So go in and you can take that moment. It doesn't have to be the specific moment. It could be just that feeling of that, rejection or, and a lot of times it's when, listen, I don't want any contact with you. It's when you're actually in that breaking up mode and you go back to that moment and you're like, oh my God, that hurt, but I'm fine. Well, go back and actually heal it. It doesn't take long. In fact, don't linger on it too long. Go in and revise that conversation to where it feels good and that you guys are both in a loving manner towards one another. Because that is truly forgiveness, is seeing them as that perfect person and seeing yourself as that perfect person. You are always attracting who you are, right? So every moment, your identity, that's how you're manifesting things. You are going through and you don't even realize it, but you're thinking, gosh, I can see the end, I feel it. But then there's this a little bit that's just clinging on, and it's that resentment. And so you're identifying with that person and you think you know what that person's thinking and going to behave as. And so you're telling the story based in that feeling of resentment. Somewhere in there's that fear factor that's really kind of impacting your story, your identity, who you are being in the moment. And listen, I'm not blaming you because we all are like, oh, I didn't even know that was there. And until you heal it, just for a 2-minute forgiveness thing, you are constantly carrying that resentment with you. So that's your identity or self-concept. I kind of prefer to say identity because you're deciding who you are. Who am I today, right? And so just remember that oftentimes when you are thinking about your identity, you are thinking from a place of, I think I know what they're thinking. I think I know what they're going to behave as. And they're going to mirror that. You're going to see that. It's kind of like when you have a saying of like, everything's going really well, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to fall. Well, you're identifying with that person of, I can get good, but I can't get all good. So I know somewhere along the line, I'm going to get some negative stuff. So I got to just prepare myself. That's your identity. I'm identifying with someone that is getting good, but I'm just waiting for the other shoe to fall because that's the way it is. I always get good stuff and then boom, the bad stuff is going to rain down on me. That's your identity. And whether you know it or not, it's so steeped into your belief system that you don't even know you're carrying it. Just like that resentment. You think, no, I love them unconditionally. I accept them exactly the way they are. But then when you really break down that feeling and that thought process throughout the day, your mental diet, you're like, he or she might come back to me, but be careful because they tend to do X, Y, and Z, because that's what I experienced in the past. We haven't forgiven them. Because if you are really manifesting your soul partner or your soul mate or soul person, they are all love. You are seeing them with all love. And when you are identifying with that God self of that God love, they're going to show up that way. And you're going to see it in all areas of your life. Don't just do it with your SP. Do it in all areas of your life. That's the intentional practice. When you start living and identifying as that person that just accepts things just the way they are, forgiving people for whatever they've done, they've hurt you somehow, and that's legit. So then you go back and you hear them say something different and hold you and say they love you, and you tell yourself that you love them and you love yourself. It is all about that forgiveness and that love. And who are you identifying as? Who is the person that you are saying you are in that moment? Are you saying that, gosh, I can get part of my SP, but not quite all, because here's a little something on a story? Well, you need to go back and really kind of shore up that little story, because you are that God, that part of God, and you can have and be and do all that you desire. But you have to choose your identity every moment of every day. And so it's a constant forgiveness, surrender, identify. Forgiveness, surrender, identify. And once you get in the habit of doing it in everything, test it out. Test it out on a colleague. And it might not even be somebody that you have an issue with. But somewhere along the line, maybe you have this storyline, like they think you're this way. Well, change that story. Forgive them for how that you think they're thinking or saying or doing, and forgive yourself. And then identify with that person that has a different conversation, a different relationship. They're going to start showing up differently for you. It is all begins and ends with you. It has nothing to do with your SP. It is who you are identifying with. Who are you? And if there's areas of fear and doubt, that's where you need to forgive. Forgive yourself. Why am I doubting? Go inside and just go meditate. Why? Why am I doubting? What is it? What is it that scares me? Where is it? And most times it's about rejection, abandonment, that sort of thing. And then you can kind of just, because you go back to your God source. God never abandons you. God never rejects you. God is always loving you. So once you tap into that God source, you can look and feel and do anything you desire, because you have that almighty source working through you as you. And once you accept that and really live it and feel it, that's the feeling. When we talk about feeling is the secret, that's the manifesting. The manifesting is tapping into that God source, that all-encompassing love, and that feel that you are walking on water. And I joke, but that is what that means when you're walking on water. I recognize that. There are many times I'm like, man, I feel so good, I can walk on water. I feel like I'm walking on water, because I feel light. I know, I have a knowing that things are coming to me. And let me tell you, things do come to you. When you start getting in the habit of identifying with that God love, that appreciation, that forgiveness, that being in the moment, wealth comes to you easy, friends come to you, family members start showing up differently, colleagues do. And so again, when you realize that there are some, lingering negative emotions, go in and forgive and revise that conversation with love. And don't linger there. Don't just do it when you're really triggered, and just realize who are you identifying as? Who is it? And so when you start to shift, let me tell you, when you start forgiving and start pouring in the love, that shifting will quantum leap. You're just gonna just go at it like nobody's business, right? Things are gonna come to you, and it's gonna be so much fun. And so just realize what you're thinking and feeling. Go in, forgive, and go at it with a ton of love and forgiveness and joy. Be in the moment. And I am telling you, you manifest who you are. So people reflect exactly what you are thinking and feeling. So that is a beautiful thing. 3D, that is a nice thing, because you're like, ooh, okay, well, how did people go at the end of the evening and say, how did people show up for me, right? And then that will reveal your belief system and go, wow, okay, well, there's some things I need to clean up. Maybe I just go into a quick meditation and forgive myself and tap into that God source. I always start with God and tap into that beautiful, wonderful source. And then I go into that revision of that story, and I go into that forgiveness, and I pour the love on everybody. And you start seeing people as God's source love, right? And then, because we're all one consciousness, we're all connected. That's why you can have and be and do all that you desire, including your specific person. Okay? So I know this landed well with you. Go ahead and like, share, comment. Let's go ahead and get this community going. I learn from you just as much as you learn from me. If you need coaching and you want to really get at it, and I'm going to hold you accountable, go ahead and contact me at shifthappenslifecoaching@gmail.com. All the information is below. Go ahead and comment. People are reflecting what I am thinking they are thinking, right? Because that is what happens, right? All right, until next time. Bye-bye.